The greatest comfort for the believer is knowing that while people may come and go, Allah never abandons His servants. This is the ultimate truth that gives peace to the heart when it feels the pain of separation. People may promise to stay forever, but life's circumstances, their own choices, or even death itself can cause them to leave. We live in a world where no relationship is guaranteed, no bond is permanent, and no companionship is everlasting. Yet above all of this uncertainty stands one absolute: Allah is ever living, ever present, and He never leaves His servants alone. When someone departs from your life, remind yourself that the one who truly matters is always with you. Human beings have limitations. They can support you for a while, but not always. They can comfort you in some situations, but not in all. They can love you, but even that love can fade or be cut short. But Allah's presence is limitless. He is there when no one else is. He listens when no one else can. He remains when everyone else leaves. This is why the Quran repeatedly reminds us that Allah is with those who are patient, with those who rely upon Him, with those who are conscious of Him. His closeness is not restricted by time, distance, or circumstance. If your heart turns to Him sincerely, He is nearer to you than your jugular vein. When Allah removes someone from your life, it can feel like a void that nothing can fill. But the truth is that void is an invitation to fill your heart with Him. Often when we have people around us, we lean on them so heavily that we forget to lean on Allah. We seek comfort in them before we seek it in prayer. We look for their approval before Allah's approval. And we allow their presence to overshadow our reliance on Him. So when Allah removes them, it is as if He is gently guiding us back to Him, saying, I was always here and I will never leave you. That realization is more powerful than any human companionship could ever be. The believer who understands this truth finds a new kind of strength. Even in loneliness, there is peace, because they know they are never truly alone. Even in heartbreak, there is healing, because they know the healer is closer than anyone else could ever be. Even in times of fear, there is courage, because they know the protector is with them. This closeness to Allah transforms the way you handle loss. Instead of drowning in despair, you rise with faith. Instead of clinging desperately to those who left, you cling firmly to the rope of Allah. History is filled with examples of those who found strength in Allah's constant presence. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when abandoned by his people, found solace in Allah's companionship. Joseph, peace be upon him, thrown into a prison cell, found strength in Allah's nearness. Moses, peace be upon him, standing before the Red Sea with his enemies behind him, proclaimed, Indeed, my Lord is with me, He will guide me. Their stories remind us that when all doors close, the door to Allah remains open. When all others abandon you, Allah never will. This understanding also shifts the way we value relationships. We no longer place our ultimate trust in people because we know that even the best of them are temporary. We appreciate them, we love them, and we value their presence, but we do not attach our hearts to them in a way that destroys us if they leave. Our true attachment, our ultimate dependence, is on Allah. This balance allows us to love people sincerely without being enslaved by them, because we know that Allah is the one who will always remain. So when Allah removes someone, let them go with peace in your heart, because your most important companion is still with you. He is with you in your darkest nights, in your deepest wounds, and in your greatest fears. He is with you when the world turns its back on you. He is with you when tears fall silently from your eyes. And He is with you when you feel no one understands what you are going through. His presence is enough to heal, to guide, and to strengthen. In the end, the believer's heart finds comfort in this everlasting truth. People may leave, but Allah never does. His companionship is eternal. His support is constant. And His love is unconditional. When you lose people, you do not lose everything, because the one who matters most is still with you. Let this reality bring peace to your soul. For when Allah removes them, He reminds you that He never leaves. When Allah takes something away, He never leaves a believer empty-handed. This is a truth that requires patience. But once it settles in the heart, it brings tremendous peace. Every removal in life is tied to a promise of replacement, either in this world or in the hereafter. When someone leaves your life, it may feel like a permanent loss. But in the wisdom of Allah, it is the opening of a door to something greater. The difficulty is that As human beings, we often focus only on what we lost, rather than on what Allah is preparing to give us. If we could trust that His replacement is always better, our hearts would learn to let go with gratitude instead of despair. The Quran and the Sunnah are filled with reminders of this principle. When Allah tests His servants with loss, He follows it with relief. When He removes a blessing, He grants something else in its place. Sometimes the replacement comes in a form you can recognize: a new friendship, a healthier relationship, a better opportunity, or a deeper sense of peace within yourself. Other times the replacement is hidden in the unseen, waiting for you in the eternal reward of the hereafter. Either way, Allah never subtracts without the intention to add. And what He adds is always better in quality, even if it does not appear greater in quantity. This truth is seen in the lives of the prophets. When Abraham, peace be upon him, left his homeland and his people, he was not left empty. Allah replaced the loss of community with the blessing of becoming the father of nations, remembered for generations. When Moses, peace be upon him, fled Egypt and left behind the life he knew, Allah replaced his loneliness with prophethood and the honor of leading an entire people. Even in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when he faced rejection, exile, and loss, Allah replaced those painful moments with victories, loyal companions, and ultimately the spread of Islam to the corners of the earth. These stories remind us that no one who loses for the sake of Allah is ever truly deprived. On a personal level, many of us have experienced situations where we begged for someone to stay, only to see them leave. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. But later, we discovered that their absence made room for peace, clarity, and even better companions who are more sincere and beneficial. What we thought was a painful loss was actually a hidden blessing. This is the way Allah works. He removes what you think you need in order to give you what you truly need. And sometimes what you truly need is not a person, but growth, strength, or a deeper connection with Him. It is important to remember that the replacement is not always immediate. There may be a period of emptiness where you feel the weight of what has been removed. This is a test of patience and trust. In those moments, the believer must hold firmly to faith, knowing that the delay itself is part of the wisdom. Allah may be preparing your heart to appreciate the replacement when it arrives, or He may be teaching you resilience so that you can carry the blessing more responsibly. The waiting period is not a sign of abandonment. It is a stage of preparation. Sometimes the replacement is not even something visible in this life, but is stored for you in the hereafter. Imagine losing a relationship you thought would bring happiness, but instead Allah replaces it with eternal joy in paradise, where no separation or betrayal exists. For the believer, this is the ultimate comfort, knowing that nothing lost for the sake of Allah is ever wasted. Even tears shed in pain are replaced with rewards, as the Prophet taught that patience in hardship elevates a believer's status. So when Allah removes someone, remind yourself that He does not leave you with emptiness. He is Al-Karim, the most generous, who replaces with what is better, in the right time and in the right way. Trust that His plan is perfect even when you cannot see the replacement immediately. Say to yourself, if Allah took this from me, then He will surely give me something better. This mindset transforms pain into hope and loss into opportunity. It allows you to embrace the wisdom of letting go, confident that the one who took away is the same one who promises to provide. In the end, the believer's heart rests on this certainty. Allah does not remove except to replace, and His replacement is always greater than what was taken. It may come in the form of worldly blessings, or it may come as treasures waiting in the eternal gardens of the hereafter. Either way, when Allah removes them, let them go, because what He will give you in return is far more valuable than what was lost. Rejection can be one of the heaviest feelings to bear, but when seen through the lens of faith, rejection is often divine protection. When Allah removes someone from your life, whether through their choice or circumstances beyond your control, it is not always a sign of loss. Many times it is Allah protecting you from harm, betrayal, heartbreak, or even sin that you could not see coming. Human vision is limited, but Allah's knowledge encompasses the past, the present and the future. He knows the hearts of people, their hidden intentions and their unseen actions. You may believe someone is good for you, yet Allah knows that their presence could damage your peace, faith, or destiny. So when you feel rejected, pause and remind yourself that Allah is protecting you in ways you might not yet understand. Rejection hurts because the human heart craves acceptance. We naturally long to belong, to be loved, and to be valued by those we care about. But the reality is that not every person we desire is meant to walk the journey with us. Some people are only meant to be part of our story for a short while. And when their time is up, Allah removes them. Instead of clinging and questioning endlessly, we must shift our perspective. Rather than seeing it as rejection, we should see it as Allah's gentle way of pulling us away from something that would harm us. What feels like a closed door is often Allah shielding you from what lies behind it. Sometimes Allah removes someone because they would have betrayed you. Perhaps their words were sweet, but their intentions were bitter. Allah in His mercy may choose to expose them or distance them from you before greater harm is done. At other times, Allah may separate you from people who are not outright harmful, but who are simply not meant for your path. They may delay your growth, distract you from your goals, or weaken your connection with Allah. To you, that departure feels like rejection, but to Allah it is protection from stagnation and wasted potential. He wants to elevate you, and sometimes elevation requires separation. Consider how many people in history faced rejection that turned out to be their greatest blessing. Prophets were rejected by their own people, yet those rejections preserved them from compromise and strengthened their reliance on Allah. Joseph, peace be upon him, was rejected by his brothers, cast into a well, and sold into slavery. At the time it was the ultimate rejection, but in reality it was divine protection that carried him to Egypt, where Allah would later raise him in status and honor. If Yusuf had never been rejected, he would never have fulfilled his destiny. His story teaches us that rejection is not the end, it is often the beginning of a greater purpose. Rejection as protection also applies to our daily lives. Think of times when you prayed for a certain person to stay, or for a certain opportunity to work out, but Allah removed it. Later you may have discovered hidden truths. Perhaps that relationship was toxic, or that opportunity would have led you astray. You realize in hindsight that what felt painful at the time was actually a form of divine mercy. Allah protected you not only from harm, but also from settling for less than what He had planned for you. This understanding helps you move forward with gratitude instead of resentment. The challenge lies in the moment itself. When rejection happens, it feels personal, heavy, and unfair. But faith teaches us to replace the question, "Why me?" with "What is Allah protecting me from?" This shift brings peace to the heart. You begin to see rejection as part of your journey, not as a mark of failure. You start to believe that if Allah removed someone, it is because He has already written someone or something better for you. In the end, rejection is never the end of your story. It is Allah's way of redirecting you, shielding you and preparing you for greater blessings. What you see as a painful goodbye may actually be a doorway to a brighter future. Trust that Allah's protection is far more valuable than temporary acceptance from people. When Allah removes someone, let them go with the certainty that you are not being abandoned. You are being protected. Your worth is not defined by people. And this is one of the most liberating truths that the believer must carry within the heart. Too often, we allow the opinions, actions, or presence of others to shape how we view ourselves. When someone leaves us, we feel abandoned. When someone rejects us, we feel unworthy. When someone mistreats us, we begin to question our value. But in reality, your worth does not decrease when someone walks away, and it does not increase when someone chooses to stay. Your true worth lies in how Allah sees you, not in how people treat you. This understanding is a shield that protects the heart from crumbling under the weight of human rejection and betrayal. People are human, and human beings are imperfect. They may love you today and turn away tomorrow. They may praise you when you benefit them and criticize you when you no longer serve their needs. If your sense of worth is tied to people, then your self-esteem will rise and fall constantly, leaving you in a cycle of insecurity and disappointment. But when your worth is tied to Allah, you become steady, strong, and unshaken by the opinions of others. Allah looks at your intentions, your faith, and your actions, not at how many friends you have or how many people applaud you. If you are sincere before Allah, then you are valuable beyond measure, regardless of who stays or leaves your life. When Allah removes someone, it is a reminder that people were never meant to be the foundation of your identity. If your dignity was tied to their presence, then perhaps the removal is a mercy, forcing you to recenter your value on Allah alone. Sometimes we give people too much power over our emotions. We begin to think, if they leave, I am nothing. But Allah teaches us that you are never nothing. You are His servant, His creation, and His beloved when you strive sincerely for His sake. No departure can strip away the honor Allah has given you as a believer. In fact, one of the greatest sources of peace is realizing that the love and approval of people are limited, while the love and approval of Allah matlab. If you lose someone but gain the pleasure of Allah Nazwa, you have gained everything. If you hold on to someone who takes you away from Allah Nazwa, you risk losing not only them but also yourself. Therefore, when Allah removes someone, remind yourself that your worth has not diminished. On the contrary, Allah may be elevating you by removing from your life those who could not see your true value, or those who may have led you away from Him. Think about the companions of the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. Many of them faced rejection from their own families and communities after accepting Islam. They lost people they loved, but they never lost their worth because their value was tied to their faith in Allah. Their sacrifices elevated them in ways that the acceptance of people never could. Similarly, every believer must carry this lesson. The measure of your worth is not in human validation, but in divine acceptance. This perspective also teaches you resilience in relationships. When someone chooses to mistreat you, belittle you, or even abandon you, instead of falling into despair, you should remind yourself, their actions do not define me. My Creator defines me. This mindset protects the heart from attaching its sense of self to the ever-changing behavior of people. It allows you to stand tall even when others walk away, because you know that the one who never walks away is Allah. The worth is rooted in the one who created you with care, who sustains you daily, and who has written mercy upon Himself. He is the one who calls you more honored than the heavens and earth when you bow your head in prayer. He is the one who tells you that you are noble when you believe and strive in His cause. Can any human rejection reduce this divine honor? Never. If someone fails to see your worth, it is their shortcoming, not yours. So the next time someone leaves, remember that your identity and dignity are not diminished. Their absence does not erase your value, because your worth is eternal with Allah. Let go of the need to be validated by people and embrace the truth that your honor is safe in the hands of the most merciful. When Allah removes someone, it does not change who you are. It simply redirects you to remember who you have always been, a servant of Allah, valuable, dignified, and honored by Him alone. Letting go opens the door to growth. And this is one of the hardest truths for the human heart to accept. We are naturally inclined to hold on to the familiar, to cling to relationships, to memories, and to people who once gave us comfort. Yet when Allah removes someone from our lives, continuing to grip tightly onto them only creates pain and delays the growth that He wants for us. Growth requires space, and sometimes that space is only created when someone leaves. We may not recognize it in the beginning, but what feels like a painful loss is often the soil in which new strength, new opportunities, and new blessings begin to grow. Think of a plant that is confined in a small pot. As long as it remains in that limited space, its roots cannot spread and its growth remains stunted. But when it is uprooted and replanted in a larger, more nourishing environment, it has the potential to flourish far beyond what was possible before. Similarly, Allah sometimes uproots people from our lives, so that our hearts, our minds, and our souls can grow in ways they never could if we remained in that confined relationship or environment. What we perceive as being torn away is often Allah preparing us for something great. The process of letting go teaches resilience. It forces you to rely on Allah more deeply and to rediscover parts of yourself that were hidden beneath unhealthy attachments. Many times we unknowingly limit our potential by relying too heavily on others for validation, comfort, or direction. When Allah removes those people, it is as though He is whispering to your heart, "You are stronger than you think, and you have me to rely on. It is through these moments of separation that you begin to uncover your true capabilities, your inner strength, and your ability to stand firmly on your own with Allah by your side.
Letting go also teaches us detachment from the temporary nature of this world. Everything in this dunya is fleeting: relationships, possessions, status, and even our own lives. When we lose someone, we are reminded of this reality. Instead of becoming trapped in despair, the believer uses this moment as a chance to grow spiritually, to detach from what is temporary and attach more deeply to what is eternal. By doing so, the heart becomes lighter, freer, and more focused on the journey back to Allah. Growth is not just about personal development, it is about spiritual elevation. Every separation is a chance to rise above our dependence on people and increase our dependence on Allah.
Moreover, letting go can clear your path for new blessings that were already written for you. Sometimes Allah will not allow the doors of opportunity to open until you have released what is no longer meant for you. Holding on to the wrong person or the wrong bond can block the blessings He has decreed. Only when you let go do you create the space for something better to enter your life. Be it a better friendship, a healthier environment, or a deeper connection to your Lord. Allah never leaves a believer empty-handed. When He takes something away, it is because He wants to give something better. But you cannot hold the new blessing if your hands are still clinging to what is gone.
The pain of letting go should never be underestimated. It is real, it is heavy, and it is part of the human experience. But even in that pain, growth is happening. Just as a muscle grows stronger through resistance and strain, the heart grows through trials of loss. With each tear shed, the heart learns patience. With each moment of loneliness, the soul learns reliance on Allah. With each memory of what was lost, the believer learns gratitude for what still remains. This is the kind of growth that cannot be measured in worldly terms, but it is growth that elevates you in the sight of Allah. So when Allah removes someone, resist the urge to cling desperately. Instead, open your heart to the possibility that this separation is your path to greater growth. Say to yourself, if Allah has taken them away, it is because He wishes for me to rise, to become stronger, and to be closer to Him. In time, you will look back and realize that letting go was not the end. It was the beginning of a new chapter of strength, healing, and divine blessings. My beloved brothers and sisters, when we speak about trusting Allah's wisdom in separation, it is one of the most delicate yet powerful lessons of life. Every one of us at some point will experience the pain of losing someone, whether through distance, broken bonds, or simply the natural course of life, where people are meant to walk away. The heart immediately feels the weight of this loss, and our first reaction is often confusion. We ask ourselves, why did this happen? Why did this person leave? What did I do wrong? Yet the truth is that nothing in this world happens without Allah's permission, and no heart turns away unless Allah has willed it. When someone is removed from your life, no matter how painful it feels, it is a part of His divine plan, a wisdom that may take years for us to understand. The believer is asked to trust, even when it hurts, and to surrender to the knowledge that Allah sees what we do not see. Often we build our lives around certain people, thinking they are the key to our happiness or success. We depend on them emotionally, sometimes more than we depend on Allah Himself. This excessive attachment can blind us from realities. Allah, out of His mercy, may break that attachment, not to hurt us, but to remind us that no human being deserves the place of Allah in our hearts. When He removes someone, it is not a punishment, but a form of divine correction, gently guiding us back to the truth that our reliance should be only on Him. We think someone's presence is essential for our peace, yet Allah shows us that true peace is only found in His remembrance. We think we cannot survive without a certain person, yet Allah shows us that survival and strength come only through Him. This is where trust becomes essential. Trusting Allah's wisdom means believing that even though we cannot see the whole picture, He has already written what is best for us. Perhaps the person who left would have harmed our faith, our future, or our emotional well-being. Perhaps they carried intentions we could not see. Perhaps their presence was delaying something greater that Allah wished to bring into our lives. When you truly trust Allah, you begin to see separation not as an end, but as a redirection towards something better. The heart that submits to Allah learns to say, if Allah has removed them, then my Lord knows something I do not know.
If he has decreed their absence, then there must be a hidden mercy in it.
Look at the lives of the prophets. Every single prophet faced rejection, separation, and the pain of people turning away. Yet not once did they lose their trust in Allah. They understood that when someone leaves, it does not decrease their worth, nor does it hinder Allah's plan. In fact, their trust in Allah only increased because they knew that His wisdom is flawless. The same lesson applies to us. Instead of clinging desperately to people who are not meant to stay, we must cling to Allah, the one who is everlasting.
Trusting Allah's wisdom also means embracing patience. Sometimes the wisdom behind a separation is not immediately clear. You may not understand today or even tomorrow why someone had to leave your life. But months or years later, you might look back and realize that their absence was one of the greatest blessings. The believer does not demand to see the wisdom instantly, but remains patient with faith that Allah's plan is always perfect. The pain of separation eventually gives way to relief, and the heart begins to see how Allah replaced what was lost with something far more valuable.
Therefore, when someone leaves your life, remind yourself that it was not your loss, it was Allah's mercy. What is taken away by Allah is never truly lost, because He is preparing something better either in this world or in the eternal gardens of the hereafter. Trust Him. He knows who belongs in your story and who does not. He knows which hearts will elevate you and which ones will harm you. And He knows the exact time when someone's role in your life must end. So let your heart end peace in this truth. When Allah removes someone, let them go, for His wisdom is greater than our understanding.